But, I mean, Chase, 47 seconds this thing hits my timeline before we're having you on. And the headline, I'm more convinced than ever that Justin Fields is the QB of the future for the Chicago Bears. I went back and watched every game he played this year and did the deepest of dives into his play on the field. Justin Fields full season review breakdown. More convinced than ever, sir?
Yeah, first of all, sorry. First of all, the new intro, right? Like this is, I think, one of the last shows I'm doing. It's applauds. Like you guys have the best in all of radio. That's the first point. Second point, sorry for the 47 seconds before. This took me a really long time because I had to go into every game, rewatch every single game. So I spent a lot of time on this, and I hope that everyone likes it because it was interesting to me to go back to the first game of the year and even like through that KC game, which I thought on offense was the low point for the most part in the early season. And then just to see the change in him the next few games, obviously got hurt Minnesota, and then both Detroit games, a second Minnesota game, and then down the stretch, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, man, this might be a quarterback in Justin Fields that has had the highest level of growth this year of any quarterback in the NFL. And that's saying something. But when you actually just go and truly just watch the film, forget about what media are saying, forget about all these talking heads, and just go and just really study the tape, I was probably more impressed with him than I probably let on. And everyone knows I'm a big Fields believer, but just the amount of growth he's shown from game one to game, he played 13 games, really 12 and a half if you don't count Minnesota. It was impressive. It really was.
Wow. Watching some of the video during the break, I saw that your first play was from the Packers game. You mentioned there's a play from the Tampa game, play from Kansas City. So you go all the way back and watch the whole thing, and then you talk about the growth. The question is, can you dependably say that growth is going to continue? You feel like it is going to continue?
I definitely don't think he's hit his ceiling. So, yeah, it's going to continue. I just think in general, just quarterback play in the NFL, forget about Justin Fields for 10 seconds. Quarterback play, you want to be able to show growth and you want to be able to show your experience, right? He's had going on 3 years of playing, and like the jump of what I've seen from quarterbacks from year 1 to year 2 is pretty good. 2 to 3 is good, but 3 to 4, when you've really, if Justin stays in Chicago and you're staying within the same scheme, you're staying with the system, you get some help at receiver, like that to me is really a telling year from 3 to 4. And, I think his ceiling is going to continue to grow. And I think with the experience, I hate that he missed those 4 or 5 games, however many he missed, because I would have loved to see a full season of him playing. But I think just his pocket presence, right? Like that to me, and everyone talked about it. We talked about it early in the year on these shows, was the processing speed and his pocket presence. He was taking an insane amount of sacks. Obviously, got to fix the fumbles. But like he's a good enough, he like I said, top 20, I think, right? Or like he's a good enough guy, in my opinion, that can be a top 15, top 12 quarterback. Like I truly believe it.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's going to happen. I think you have to surround your quarterback, any quarterback, with special players. And DJ Moore had a hell of a season. Thought Cole Kmet played really well. And going back and watching the latest Green Bay game, like it was probably the worst offensive line play for that team all year long. Like dude didn't have a chance back there. I'm not making excuses for him. He left some throws out on the field, but you got to have a good pocket, and you got to build an offense around him. And I think if you do that, he can be a really good quarterback.
Yeah, that is so interesting because like everything that you're saying sounds really good and would be really exciting, Chase, and not at all complicated if they didn't have the number 1 pick.
100%. If we're not even having this conversation,
right? If they had the 5th and 9th pick, we'd be like, "Oh my God, okay, awesome.
Let's build around them and see what we got."
Yeah, let's see what they got.
Because even
left tackle, receiver.
Because even between 10 and 12, if you have an opportunity to take the number one quarterback and reset the contract clock, you consider it.
If you have the 12th best quarterback in football and you can get a guy who you think can be top 5, who's younger and cheaper, I think that team considers it. Like, maybe you disagree, Chase, but like, I think if Dallas had the number 1 pick, they would consider. I don't know if they would or wouldn't, but they would consider drafting Caleb Williams or Drake May to move on from Dak Prescott. Like, I think it's a short list of guys that you just flat out say no to if the experts are right and the quarterbacks at the top of this draft are as good as they say they are.
Yeah, I mean, the Dak one's an interesting. I mean, with the way he's played, I think he's probably had his best season. But I do agree. You know, he's going to reset the market, and you're going to have to pay him damn near $60 million to play quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys next year. He's going to be, mark my words, we talked about, he's going to be the highest paid player in all of football.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean,
then he has to be a guy who elevates the team because it's harder 100%. To pay the left tackle and the receiver and the edge rusher and the corner when you pay that to, and you want to have a quarterback who's worth it, like 15 in Kansas City, you know, like Burrow, right? But like that's the tricky part right there. So like, is Fields good enough so that he can get to a place where you can pay him $50 million a year in a couple of years, and you have cheap guys at other premium positions, and he can elevate them as a passer? Is he good enough to do that?
I mean, I don't know. I think the jury's still out.
Right.
And so you would say, well, if the jury's still out, then you need to move on from him.
Only because you have the number 1 pick.
Yeah, and even if you had the 3rd pick, dude, like Caleb Williams or Drake May are the two that I've studied just a little. I'm going to dig more into them now that we have playoffs, less teams playing. But those are really the only two. So even if you have the 3rd pick, right? But then it doesn't make sense. And if you I just look, I mean, yeah, it's such a difficult decision, and it might be easy for Ryan Poles, but if you were to trade back from 1 even to 2 or 3, think about how much draft capital you're getting.
Yep.
And I'm sure Ryan Poles in the back of his mind is saying, okay, who's coming down the pipeline maybe 2 years later or a year later? Like, are they as good or are they better than Drake May or Caleb Williams? I don't think so. So like, this is the year that you want to be picking one if you're really interested in a quarterback. And I just go back to like the Ryan Poles decision, because it's so fascinating to me, because I promise you, he, in the back of his mind, he was probably thinking like, man, I hope this is an easy decision. Like, I hope that, but the way Justin has played as of late, you would argue that is no longer an easy decision for Ryan Poles.
See, that's interesting in and of itself. The numbers over these last 7 games themselves are not great. It's like 61% completion percentage. It's 5 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. A couple of those are on Hail Marys, though, at the end. So that brings it in, but there's 20 sacks. There's 6 fumbles. It's a QB rating of around 81, that kind of thing. There have certainly been moments, but I guess my question is, Chase, is there enough on schedule? And you're one of the people that taught us this conversation. Enough on schedule, not improvisation, 5-step drop, boom, quick throw stuff. Like, is he given an opportunity to do enough of that? And have you seen enough progress with that?
Yeah, I have. I think the first 7 games that I saw, absolutely not. But I think he's shown an innate ability. I don't know what happened. Like, something clicked in his mind. Maybe it's just the experience factor of playing. Like, something has clicked in his mind where he's getting the ball out or he's taking off. And that's all you can ask. I know a ton of quarterbacks that play that way. And I would ask you, like, the last 7 games, numbers don't sound great. What's their record?
4-3.
Right? Are they
4-3. Went 2-2 against the division.
Yeah, and you would say that that just, it's like, in my opinion, it's more than numbers. Like, the way the fan base, the way the team has been galvanized around Justin, and the way he's played, he pretty much, in my opinion, like if they didn't finish strong down the stretch, right? They were 4-2 before this last game. If they didn't finish strong down the stretch, like, you would probably say Eber's gone, and you would just blank slate start over. And so you could,
which
make
is
an
still what I'm
argument
advocating for, by the way.
What do you say?
I said it's still what I'm advocating for, by the way.
Yeah.
You know why, Chase? Though, you were here, man. I think that they're going to draft a quarterback at 1, and if Eberflus stays, when Mitch was here, he had John Fox and Dowell Loggins for a year. And then they fired him, and you had to bring in Nagy in his 2nd year. So now it's 2 systems in 2 years. when they drafted Justin. Nagy was here. Then they fired him in a year, and they brought in Eberflus and Getzy. So he had 2 systems in 2 years. And if you keep Eberflus and you draft Caleb, and now you got a defensive head coach, you're really risking in the first year or 2 or even 3 firing your defensive head coach and making your rookie quarterback on his rookie contract change systems twice in the first couple of years, as opposed to marrying the coach to the quarterback to the system, and guaranteeing a few years of continuity. It just seems like too good of an opportunity to pass up, given that they have the number 1 overall pick. And respond to that, and then I got one more thing about what you're saying about top 12. But go ahead, in terms of marrying the coach and the quarterback.
Yeah, continuity is really important. I would say that quarterbacks learning a new offensive scheme is not that important. And to be honest, if you're not an offensive head coach, you don't really deal with the quarterback like ever. And it's the offensive side of the football.
So what part of continuity is important? If it's not about learning the new scheme and the new terminology, what part is important?
Keeping Justin with the same guys and the same people and the same everything like that. To me, that's important. Now, I mean, look, I don't know. I think Eber's done enough to save his job. Like I just don't know that, especially with the way the defense played down the stretch, and it gives him a chance if you were all in, because let's be honest, you had your pick of people last year and you picked Matt Eberflus, right? You decided to hire Eber, and when you did that, you were saying, okay, hey, out of all the people in the world, we like it. Like, it's not like you settle. Like, you get your pick, and all of a sudden, after he's shown what he's shown down the stretch, defense playing better, you're just going to say, you know what? No, like, not a chance in hell you're staying. Like, I don't know.
All right, but so what about this argument, Chase? Like, before the year, people thought the Texans were a bottom 5 team in the NFL. And all of a sudden, they were, right? And CJ Stroud comes in and lights the world on fire, is amazing. They go to the playoffs, defensive head coach, and turns Tank Dell and Nico Collins into household names, and they're a live dog in a playoff game, right? Like, they're like, oh, yeah, they can absolutely win a postseason game. Rookie quarterback, bad situation. Jordan Love, you said you think he's going to be the better quarterback than Justin Fields. Youngest team in the league, supposed to be a rebuilding year. In the postseason, you just said top 5 defense for the Bears down the stretch. He shredded them. They didn't punt. Like, I'm not terribly interested in settling for the 12th to 15th best quarterback in the NFL, maybe, when I watch football for 11 hours every Sunday and I see dudes doing more with less. Am I wrong?
I mean, I'm with you. Yeah, no, you're not. And I think that's the 40-year struggle for Chicago Bears fans.
I know.
You guys have never really had, and I think that's probably getting to you a little bit, and you're getting a little crabby.
Yeah.
Okay? And
I have 2 toddlers at home, okay?
Yeah,
so I'm not sleeping.
Got 3. I got 3. I'm not sleeping either. I'm with you on that.
Sucks, dude.
Yeah, so it's an interesting, it really is. I mean, there's so many, and what we're talking about, you better believe that Ryan Poles is going through all these types of conversations with high-level people and officials, and I mean, look, I just think that you have Justin Fields, like, quarterback play, like, I go back to Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Like, you don't need to draft one to find a quarterback. You just have to find the right quarterback to fit your system. And look, it's like, then you go back to Luke Getzy. Like, what if they were to move on from Getzy and get an actual player, like, or a coach that would fit a scheme that's run to Justin Fields? So there's so many deep thoughts and conversations and what ifs, and like full house cleaning, keep Eber, fire Eber, keep Justin, trade Justin. Look, I just think at the end of the day, like, I think they should keep him. What I think they'll do is I think they'll end up taking Caleb Williams. It's just too hard to pass up. Like you were saying, 45 years, 50 years of franchise bad quarterback play. Now, it's not a fact that Caleb is going to be the guy. But you are starting your clock over again, and you're hoping that he's the guy. But
you're shooting your
shot in the first round.
Yeah,
you're shooting your shot, and you're saying, you know what, like, this is our best chance. Like, they're going to do their homework. And I mean, dude, it might be Drake May.
Well,
Drake May, I think,
thing.
is the most pro-ready quarterback right now.
Chase, here's the thing. Danny watches football for 11 hours a day. And he does know a ton of stuff, and we've argued this stuff to death. Ryan Poles watches a lot of football, knows a ton of stuff, but he doesn't play right now on this team. You come at it from a player's perspective on this team, and this is the clash that is going on here. So your honest thoughts about what we can see and you can see and feel and have heard about the vibes and the chemistry and the fact that the thing is moving in the right direction. It's undeniable. And yes, the offensive coordinator is not a great fit for Fields. That's for sure. So I understand where you're coming from, and a ton of listeners are with you still. It's very much a split thing in this town. Yeah. The question is if Ryan Poles will care about that. If he will look at the hard line items on the Excel spreadsheet and say, this matters, so Fields stays. And it's possible that he will, but how often do those GMs actually think like that is the question. You've dealt with a lot of them.
Yeah, I think GMs are 2 to 3 years from now in thinking. But I do think it's a hard decision, like you were saying, because of the way he's galvanized the locker room. Like you got star players. Like it will be an issue for a little bit if you trade Justin Fields, and then they'll get over it. And so in Ryan Poles' mind, like he has a vision, right? A 5-year plan on what he's hoping to get done. And just like every GM, he's hoping to get these steps done. And I mean, look, to have the first pick in the draft and the 9th, like that's especially with your defense down the stretch, you need an offense. And is Justin the guy to run it? It's for him to decide. It's going to be him and the owners deciding, and that's going to be that. So it's going to be a fascinating couple months, man.
Chase, do you know Jim Harbaugh?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, because that's the dream for Bears fans. Former Bear, just won a title, hired an NFL agent, won in the NFL, won at Stanford, won at Michigan.
He's for sure going to the NFL. From everything I've heard, like he's going to get the bag. He's going to go to the NFL. And the Chargers rumors, I mean, you know, it's a little real, and it starts with the quarterback. Who has the best quarterback of all the openings? It's easily the Los Angeles Chargers. He can win right away with that.
All right, you know what? We might call you in the offseason. I wanted to do some rapid. You've seen everything, and we've always done the X's and O's breakdown. Can I ask you a couple of rapid fire ones that I'm just curious for? All right, rapid fire. Yeah. Chase Daniel. Who is the better play caller, Sean Payton or Andy Reid?
Oh, dude, did you?
Yeah.
How long did you have to prep this?
I've had this question for like 10 weeks.
Sean Payton.
Better.
Wow.
I love Andy.
Wow.
I know you do.
I think Andy's more creative, but I think Sean, dude, when Sean gets into a zone, like I've been on the sideline for 5 years with Sean. When he gets into the zone, it's unlike anything I've ever seen.
That's fascinating. So Andy may be more creative design or those kind of things, but Sean's feel for play calling better.
It's insane.
That's great.
More impressive arm, pure arm talent, Mahomes or Herbert?
Arm talent, Mahomes.
Okay.
Arm power, Herbert might be up there. Probably like one or two of people I've ever seen throw a football in terms of like zip on it.
No, I've been thinking about guys throughout your career.
So when you say arm talent for Mahomes, you're talking about accuracy,
every type of platform.
There it is.
Not even accuracy. Arm talent meaning like platform, the way you throw it, the way you bend it around people, your creativity within throws, over top, all that stuff. To me, I mean there's a reason he's the best quarterback in the world. And it's because of that.
You watch the film so much on the Bears. We obviously you're studying the quarterback, but bigger need for the Bears offense: a left tackle upgrade from Braxton Jones or a wide receiver 2 upgrade opposite DJ Moore?
Wide receiver 2, not even close in my opinion.
Okay.
You can, dude, if you have a chance, and look, Marvin Harrison Jr. ain't going to be there at 9, I don't think.
No.
But like one of those guys, even the guy from Washington, like you get 2 studs on the outside with Cole, and you get another like running back 1, running back 2. They can be a formidable opponent. Like you can protect. The reason I say you can protect a left tackle with chips and nudges and help him out. You can't have another threat opposite like this high in the draft as DJ Moore. You know what I mean?
Okay.
As long as Justin or whoever the quarterback is somebody who doesn't mind throwing it quick and playing the quick game.
They need to upgrade its center. We know this. Like Lucas Patrick, Dan Feeney, they've had problems at center with Cody Whitehair, with snapping and, frankly, interior A-gap pressure. Would you be comfortable pairing rookie quarterback with rookie center?
No.
Okay.
No way. No way.
Wow.
Especially with how the college games changed. I look at these guys in college. First of all, they don't huddle. Like ever. Okay. and when they do, they're not calling protections. They're not miking run game. They're not doing. If you're in a rookie quarterback and you have to do that in the NFL, you don't want a rookie center and a rookie quarterback doing that. You're going to get your head blown off. On pressures and stuff.
Okay. So when we're talking about it this offseason, we need to be looking for free agent center or trade center if they are drafting Caleb or Drake May.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you said you haven't done the full dive, but what makes you say Drake May is more pro ready than Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've watched a couple games of both. I think Caleb has, and why I think he'll ultimately go one if the Bears take him, or the first quarterback off the board, is he reminds a lot of people, and I see it, but not like crazy, of the Mahomes style film, like just different platforms, super creative, constantly getting outside of the pocket, just making these splash type plays that make you go, wow. And rightfully so. And then with Drake May, he's more on time, in rhythm, reminds me of in college, a better like Drew Brees style, just from his footwork, his arm talent, his accuracy, his timing, his rhythm. He can make enough plays with his feet. But I've been really impressed with his feet, which is the most important thing as a quarterback, in my opinion.